morning, and welcome to the second edition of WLTV West Loudoun Television. I'm Anusha Modi.
And I'm Aniansi Nunez.
As we mentioned in our last broadcast, Loudoun students traveled all over the world this summer, and one of the largest groups of students participated in the Service Club's mission trip, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. WLTV's Julissa Nunez caught up with Cristina Sanchez to learn more about her experience on the trip.
Hello, Loudoun. I'm with Cristina Sanchez, who went on the service trip to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Why did you choose to go on the Puerto Vallarta trip?
Last year they had an assembly where they showed the video of how the students went to the trip, and they showed how they were playing with the kids, and it kind of made me tear up, and I'm like, I really want to go see those kids. It'd be nice to meet them and be there with them and play with them, and it was a dream to go, I guess.
Now, Cristina, tell us what you value now that you didn't value before.
I think what I value now that I didn't value before was my parents always being supportive, and my brother especially, because he's helped me through a lot. And seeing the kids over there not have any family members it's heartbreaking, and it's just nice to be around them because they have no one to be with.
What was the overall activity you liked the most on the trip?
I think it'd be playing with the little kids, going to the schools, and the other one would be ziplining. Ziplining is probably the best. I would do it a whole lot more.
Who was the one child that touched your heart on the trip?
There was this little girl at the orphanage. Her name's Celeste. She's about 4 years old. When I first saw her, she was walking by, and she turns around and she sees my bracelets, and they all sparkle. And she came up to me and started playing with it and holding my hand. And so she took me away, and I started playing with her, and it was heartwarming.
Thank you, Cristina. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Julissa. Homecoming is just 3 weeks away, and next week, Loudoun students will have the chance to vote for the first round of homecoming court during their lunch periods. WLTV's Meneses Garriga caught up with Student Council President Jorge Sanchez to learn what Student Council has in store for us these next few weeks.
Sanchez. So, Jorge, with homecoming right around the corner, what should we expect in the next few weeks?
Next week, the 14th through the 18th, will be voting for court, and it's for juniors and seniors, and it will take place during the lunch periods at the table.
What's going to go on with homecoming ticket sales?
Homecoming ticket sales start the 28th and end the 2nd, and they will be $15 per person, $25 per couple, and at the door, the price will be $20 per person.
Awesome. Back to you.
Thanks, Meneses. Our final story this morning ties into today's date. For many of us, September 11, 2001 is a date in the history book. After all, most of us were barely walking and talking when the Twin Towers in New York and the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. were attacked by terrorists. For many Loudoun students and teachers, that morning was a day they will never forget. WLTV's Bennett Nunez and Christian Rubio had a chance to talk to two Loudoun teachers about what it's like to be in the school that fateful morning.
11. So, Mr. Rooney, what is the most vivid memory of that day?
Most vivid memory I have of that day is having a room crowded with 3 whole groups of kids in my room all day long. When we found out about it, I had a television up on the wall, and so literally all day I had 2 or 3 classes of kids who had a period in the social studies hallway that day, and they were all in my room watching everything on TV.
Were you just having a regular day of class?
We were supposed to have a regular day of class, but I had first period off that year, and my second period class was U.S. history. So I was coming back to set up for that, and Ms. Nordmeyer was actually walking the other way, and she said to me, "Hey, did you hear a plane hit the World Trade Tower?" And I thought, oh, wow, no, I hadn't heard that. And I kind of pictured, like a 2-seater Cessna plane, some kind of wrong way Roger, clipped the building. But I had a little black and white television in the closet still. And when I pulled out that television and saw what was going on, you could very clearly see it was something that was not just a little passenger plane. It was something way bigger than that.
What emotions and thoughts were going through your mind?
Well, I think as somebody who's been in the service, anger bordering on rage was a big one. And when you stop to think about what happened by the end of the day, just the overwhelming sadness. So I'd say those two put together were the main emotions of the day.
How did the attacks affect you?
Well, I'm not one of these people who tries to take something that didn't happen to me and make it about me. But I think the thing that affected the people in my neighborhood the most, because I was an alderman on my city council back then, the old O'Hare runways used to make a lot of noise in my town, a lot of airport noise. And people complained about it all the time. And for 3 days, there was no air traffic in and out of Chicago or most of the country. So I remember being on the block talking to some neighbors, probably September 14th, and we heard an airplane go overhead, and we all kind of looked at each other and breathed a sigh of relief. And I remember laughing and saying, wow, did you ever think you'd be happy to hear that sound?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rooney, for your time, and back to you guys.
Hi, I'm Bennett Nunez, and I'm here with Mr. Miller, who served in the Air Force and is still serving in the International Guard. We are here to talk about 9/11. So, Mr. Miller, can you tell us how did you feel about 9/11?
Well, sure. As all of us were unbelievably shocked to think something like that could happen in the homeland. At the time, I was teaching, as many of the faculty were, and it was our morning band classes at East Leiden. And that was 14 years ago, so that was pre-smartphone, pre-auto update, pre-text message, social media. My wife called me in between classes knowing that I served, and also just being concerned as a family with young children. Is this the beginning of some coordinated attacks? And we found out, sadly, that it was indeed. What does that mean for us? So like everyone, I think it was just a day of complete awe that something like that could happen, the unthinkable.
And what was the most drastic thing you remember about 9/11?
Relative to Leiden, it was in the ensuing days, because we were in the throes of our marching band season, and we've all grown up around the airport, and we're just accustomed to that constant ongoing of airplanes, and we have to actually temper our teaching and our rehearsals towards it sometimes. Even with the PA, the airplanes are too much. And the eeriness of the quiet from no air traffic whatsoever in the subsequent days was just something we'd never experienced before. And what I believe was the first outbound flight happened while we were in the stadium preparing the marching band for one of the upcoming performances. And I saw the plane, as we do, as we look to the north from the stands, and we stopped the band, and I wanted the kids to share in that moment of reassuredness that that's the sound of freedom prevailing when the plane flew overhead for us. And to me, at least, that was a very powerful moment, and I'm glad we could share that with the students.
And did you know anybody who was impacted by 9/11?
Sadly, I did. As you know, I serve, and both that day and in subsequent missions, sadly, have known people who have given their lives for their country. I knew people who were serving in the Pentagon that day, and thankfully none of them were killed in action or injured in the attacks. I came to find out later that one of my friends and classmates from grade school and Little League and such things, I found out as an adult, was working in the World Trade Center and was sadly killed by the direct result of the attack.
All right, that's all we have today. So, Mr. Miller, thank you so much, and thank you for serving our country.
Oh, that's kind of you. It's an honor to serve, and happy Patriots Day to everyone.
We'd like to thank Mr. Miller and Mr. Rooney on this Patriots Day for their service to Leiden and their service to the country over the years.
We'd also like to thank all the other men and women who serve our country every day. They sacrifice time away from their families, friends, and careers to help protect our freedom and way of life.
Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend, West Leiden.
And remember, go Eagles!